All right, hi, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. This is episode 9. It's a short video. In episode 7 and 8, I had some audio issues, so I was unable to get the audio with the videos. The videos are still uploaded there for my record keeping purposes, for my video journal that outline my last 2 trades. But I'm going to go ahead and cover those here as just an addendum video. And basically, if we look on the right here, I have Bookmap, and at about 1350 or so, we saw a little bit of a retracement. I changed my bias, and when we got a sharp, aggressive seller stepping in, breaking back to the downside, I entered, and you can see right over here where I have this trend line coming down. We bounced off of it. I also had a red line here marking some resistance where we bounced off of it. Basically, it's like a little doji, right? We have wicks on both sides, and I jumped in right at the candle close and wrote it down from about 64.18 to about 64.10 for about 10 points of profit, or 8 points of profit, putting my stop loss at 6,422 for about a 1.72 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And then, as you can see, we bounced right off that level. And what you can see is if I move the Bookmap screen a little bit into the future, you're going to see where we rip through a buy wall and rejected right off of it. An aggressive buyer stepped back in, and now we're kind of consolidating before we make our next move. I do anticipate price possibly going down further, maybe to 64.01-ish, but for the moment, maybe it'll determine which way it's going to go when we get to power hour, which starts in about 15 minutes. So we'll monitor it. That'll be another video if I decide to take a trade. But that's pretty much it. So we took a trade earlier in the day. We lost $55 on that trade. And essentially, we had an opening range. Let me see if I can go over to Quant Tower. I'll be able to show it to you on this screen. So this was our first trade of the day. And we had an opening range here, 15-minute opening range. We broke through it. And when I got this candle close, I entered, putting my stop above it. Stop down at the bottom of the range. And I was hoping that we were going to maintain bullish momentum and move up, but we didn't. We maintained bearish momentum from the high that we took before the London session, and then continuing to move down through the London session. And then we opened up in New York and continued to go down. These yellow highlighted candles that you see, there was lots of volume traded in these candles, and most of it was sell volume. So very negative delta candles. So we got stopped out at the bottom of the initial balance, the opening range, which actually was the initial balance as well. So we got a single break to the initial balance to the downside. It retraced about 50% and then continued down. So this would have been a great initial balance trade. I didn't take that. I took the orb trade, and it essentially double broke, retraced, and then continued down. So I lost $55 on that trade. So we are net down $16.15 on the day. We may be able to get one more trade in, but we're not going to force anything. I'm happy with everything that happened today. I've reviewed everything. I know what mistakes I made, how I would have approached this differently. I jumped in a little early on this first trade, and I believe I executed the second trade as well as I could, looking at the real-time order flow, and just, this is more of a scalp trade. My first trade, I was trying to get into a trade and hold the bias all day long. And I eventually determined that there was still more room to go to the downside, and I decided that I was going to take a scalp down to at least this level of interest or this zone of interest. And I could have maybe opened up 2 contracts and taken it one here, move my stop loss to profit or break even, and then take it down to this next level, which we haven't attacked yet. We may attack this later in the day, or we may work our way back up to one of these VWAP zones that I have marked at the top. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you for listening, and y'all have a wonderful day. Happy trading.